one more person who's going to join our panel. I think he didn't make it, so we're going to find his skills. So maybe Shuaib, you can be the third judge. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So we have Shuaib who's going to be our third. So with this, I'm going to hand over to Shuaib. I got a few more responsibilities. Yeah. So if you can give me the names of the stars. Okay.
You'll have to improvise, you know.
Okay, so I would like to invite Smart Lens to come on stage and present. Murad? Do we have it?
Hello everyone, my name is Murad. I will today present our team and our work Smart Plans. So we are based at Stanford and our technology is much different than what you heard so far here. And it will be a challenge for me. So ours will be classified as digital healthcare. It's one of the classification we can call MedTech as well. So Smart Lens is the first microfluidic contact lens for continuous monitoring of pressure, eye pressure, and that is for revolutionary treatment of glaucoma. So there is, the question is, what is glaucoma? So if you know anybody who has glaucoma from your friends and family, that will make more sense and make resonance. So glaucoma is a nerve damaging disease. As it progresses, your nerves are damaged, and unfortunately with time you may lose your vision. What happens, there's no symptoms for that. The people over 40 years old age, they recommend to go to the doctors and they get their pressure measured. And if you don't, some people whose family has glaucoma, they go to doctors and get measured just to make sure that they don't have it. So there's no symptoms, it's risky, you may lose your vision, you may find out with the time. The only risk factor is that pressure. Eye pressure increases, causes damage in the eye, and then you lose your vision. There are several kinds of drugs, 5 classes of the drugs to stop the glaucoma. It is irreversible, there's no treatment, but you can stop it. So far in the US, like 3 million people is diagnosed with glaucoma. It's increasing. There's undiagnosed people as well. There are $5 billion in direct costs to healthcare and $20 billion in direct and socioeconomic costs. So people over 40 years old age is under risk. There are 25 million people in the US. And people who are already using contact lens, which will be ours, will be contact lens as well, they can potentially use that and just be safe from glaucoma. And then every year, 150,000 people gets into market because of their old aging population increases. So what are the challenges for effective treatment? This really important part is compliance. So doctors treat people with their drugs. So after a few weeks, people stop using drugs. They believe that just curing is treating. They stop, there's no symptoms that is curing or treating. So the only way to look at it, the eye pressure. So the second one is drugs. So we have some ophthalmologists in our team, and their advisor, they say that sometimes they have to assign, prescribe 3-4 drugs to stop it. They want to make sure that you're stopping that progression. So they don't know which one is effective. It requires a really extensive study for that. The another one is diagnosing. So if you see here, this is the graph of daily eye pressure. So it changes, it fluctuates. So if you go to the doctor, get a measurement at one time point, they may miss that, you may have a high pressure. It's significant that a lot of undiagnosed people may be out there and but they don't know yet. So effectively treat glaucoma, accurate and continuous intraocular pressure measurement needed. So what is the existing technology? There's applanation tonometry. So you go to doctor, you get one-time poke in your eye, and they give you your pressure. If they miss that diagnosis or this fluctuation, if they're in the low end of your fluctuation, they may miss that. But if they catch it, it's good. So it's high cost to insurers, and it requires the often visits, and there's no ability to monitor compliance and effectiveness of treatment. So a lot of people doesn't feel comfortable with it. So there are like a lot of companies has been invested, like over $400 million invested for different technologies. There are implanted devices, intraocular lenses people try to develop. And there are two of them, and there's one of the recent and promising one, SensiMed Triggerfish. It is a contact lens with the device, microchip in it, and it gives the signal to something you wear, and it measures. The problem is it costs $3,000, the one they use, and it causes a lot of problems, adverse effects, and there's no way to pass through FDA. So the passing through FDA, if you have any chip in your eye, any kind of RF signal, there's no way to pass through FDA. That's what Google Glass is working on, and there's also RF based. They might expect in 5 years or more they may pass. So what is our solution? So we have a contact lens with microfluidics integrated. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna wear it, and then with your iPhone, you're gonna measure that your eye pressure. There's no addition to it, and it will read out, and it will send the data to your healthcare provider. You'll get feedback, you'll get warning system, and you'll get continuous monitoring. So far at Stanford, we have 2 patents. We have a Nature paper with it. We have intraocular lens. We already made it. So this has been really popular throughout the world in the news and in the news portals. So that device is intraocular lens. You have to implant it, but we are not going market with that. The reason is we have that technology, and the way how it works is very simple, and we'll carry that technology into contact lens. That is very small microfluidics channels. There's a liquid and gas interface. And we read out that line, and we assign that intraocular pressure. So next is we are working on contact lens based on similar system, and it will read out your curvature of the eye that is changing for intraocular pressure. It will give you eye pressure. So this is our plan, the timeline for we are currently founded as a startup. And we are raising first funding $200K, and then in 3 to 5 months we want to finish that prototype and go the next phase. That may require $3 million for preclinical and clinical studies. So this is our strategy. I'll talk about our core team. We are all Stanford postdoc and graduate students. So I myself have 10 years of experience of microfluidics, optics, imaging algorithms. And Emre Raj is also innovator for this technology. He's also a postdoc at Stanford. Hugh is a has several years of business experience. He's a JD candidate at Stanford. We have a biosciences PhD candidate in our team, as well as advisory team from Stanford Ophthalmology Department and Neurology Department. So I'd like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to present here.
I just want to introduce one of the judges. So, we started a bit early and we arrived on time. I apologize for that because we just didn't want to lose the audience momentum, so we started 5 minutes early. Cheyenne Habib, partner with Idea Developers, filling in his own place. So we open the floor for questions for the judges.
So it seems like you haven't done any prototyping yet, and for FDA to approve that, it might take few years, if not more. So have you thought into that? Is there a project timeline as to when you're going to do that and so on?
Okay, this specific goes to class 3, like a device, medical device. And class 3, there is class 2 is a regular contact lenses. Since we added something, it's called class 3. But the FDA started something new, it's called de novo classifications, means that if there's something already in there, you're adding some small technology, they try to make it easier for you to pass. But for our initial, we're just gonna have like a very disposable contact lenses to make the system faster, because since it's disposable, it doesn't require a long time, like a observation on that. So we just want to go the shortest way to get it with the very disposable early products.
Can you hear me? What are you asking, and what is the use of funds, and how far would that take you?
So initially we need 200K to, there's already incubator spaces. I don't know if you're from QB3, they have facilities and everything. We just need a space, and they have devices to work on that, and that will require 100K, and another 100K we're trying to license that from Stanford, that are IPs. And we have 2 IPs that we're trying to license from Stanford that our partner, Sonsini, they're working on it. But for the third one, we submitted our own IP, and we just have to pay for that as well. For initial funding. There's a seed grants.
And it seems like you are going to modify the existing contact lenses to interject that fluid or
Yeah.
whatever. So you've worked out all the material impacts and the fluids. Eye is a very sensitive part of the body, so you have figured out the mechanics and all that, and what kind of processes you're going to go through and with the team of Stanford grads that you have?
So initially those, what we have intraocular lens, we went like the safest in terms of the FDA regulations with materials, PMA, and there are already intraocular lens companies. We're going to use the same material that they use, which already proven to be safe. Here, only thing is we're going to combine all together. We have to show that it doesn't have adverse effects and some other regulations they require. A lot of material we use here, the companies has been used already for different purposes in the body. That's kind of we go with the safe side and try to get it through.
I have one more. How about the patents that you talked about? Are they provisional? Have you applied for it? Did you receive it? How far along are those? And are there any other competing patents in that field?
So we have 2 patents from Stanford for intraocular lens.
That Stanford has.
Stanford has,
Trying
and
to license
we
them.
are also an innovator. Our advisory team, one of the faculty, and also another guy is on our team. They're the innovators, and Stanford IOL office is asking them to give us or not.
So you're going to license that patent?
We applied and we are licensed. And so third one is we submitted provisional IP.
You mentioned you were already funded, or did I mishear?
No.
Okay, so this is the first round of financing that you're for.
So in terms of taking the timeline to profitability, how long do you think this $3 million and $200,000 tranche take you? How far are you?
So for that $200,000, we'll work on that one from our time. So we'll just try to get this one by the October to November. Then we need the further, like a kind of seed A grant to get through the clinical phases. So what is nice with that, we have a lot of collaborators. They're ophthalmologists that they will collaborate with us to try those prototypes.
Just a last comment, it seems like if it does succeed, it might be disruptive but it all depends if it does succeed. If not, it could be a dud, you know. So just thank you.
Next one is TikTok. Hi, so I'm going to be representing TikTok. My name is Nasir Kochanwala, and this is about becoming a connected retailer. We are going to be enabling retailers to become connected with their customers in a whole different way, and I'm going to show you how. Think about, we're basically going backwards in some ways by bringing the online experience that exists today to brick and mortar. So think about Amazon. When someone logs into Amazon, Amazon knows who you are as soon as you log in. And with every click that you do, Amazon knows what you're doing, and they're providing offers. Whoever bought this book, bought this package. Whoever bought this, or if you spend over $35, you're gonna get free shipping. And when you log out, they remind you by sending you the reminders, emails, notifications, or something like that. But when you walk into a retail store, whether it may be Nordstrom, whether it's Best Buy, or any store for that matter, they don't know when you walk into the store. They only know who you are when you go to the POS system and swipe your card. We want to bring the concept of the customer being the retailer being notified that the customer walked in at the time when they walk in the door. And we want to track that customer in every step. Think of the step as clicks now. Every step that they take in the store, we want to capture that all the way till they check out, and we want to be able to provide them notifications while they are in the store. And I'm going to walk you through how we are enabling that. The challenges for retailers today. Retailers have been trying to know their customers better for years now. Spend millions and millions and millions of dollars of it, but they haven't been able to get a lot of traction. Despite having a lot of social cloud, mobile capability and so forth, the adoption has remained low. The reason is, the discounts and coupons today are available at point of sales. It's too late in our opinion because the customer is ready to leave the store. You lost the customer, and when you're going to Safeway or Walgreens or anything, we have all signed into the reward programs and we get the coupons, but most of them throw it away because we're getting them as part of the receipts. Today, some companies are installing camera-based installations. There's two problems with camera-based installations. One is you have to now time the image to identify the identity. And two, it's very expensive, especially high-definition cameras. The Wi-Fi access does not provide the customer behavior or identify specific personality. So how are we managing that, given that the retail is a big, big market and 95% of the retail shopping is still done in the store? So our innovating solution basically focuses on 4 areas, making sure it's personalized in real time while you're in the store. And if 2 people are walking in, both of them don't get the same email offers or promotions. They get individual offers based on what they're looking at. If someone is out there looking at a shoe aisle, there's no point in sending them something about a perfume or a cologne, because they may not be interested. If you develop a pattern and a behavior that someone is only buying organic stuff, there's no reason to give them offers of non-organic stuff. Capture the behavior, capture the pattern, make it personalized. We are capturing data that is not captured today. It's in many ways the big data, and creating the concept of providing historical trend and customer behavior that we capture based on the social media, the prior historical visit in the store, and so forth, and as well as what they are doing today, aisle 1, aisle 3, aisle 10. Why are they not going to aisle 6, 7, 8, and 9? We're redefining loyalty. Amazon has done a great job in terms of capturing the folks to come back again and again by giving them personal touch based on what they are interested in. We're redefining the loyalty. And the other reason why adoption has been low is because not only it's not real time, it's very expensive to deploy, or it takes months to deploy. Our solution is deployed in hours and days. We have a store up and running in less than a week. Only reason why it would go to 2 weeks is if they are making complex campaigns that they need to put in there. And I mentioned big data. A lot of companies are capturing business intelligence and so forth. We are taking it up a notch by doing predictive and prescriptive analytics also about the customer. We have 3 modules, or apps if you want to call them, capturing the retailer at the corporate level, at the store level, and then the big data analysis from a dashboard perspective. And you showed me a 1-minute warning, so I'm going a little bit faster. This is how our solution works. We are tying in, not only using we're using a BLE with a defined sensors, patented sensors and technology to capture the customers based on their use of the retail app. We are taking the planogram or the customer's inventory management system to give us just a dump of an Excel file. And we tie the sensors to those Excel files and have it up and running and mapped in hours. 1 day to 2 days. The only reason, once again, it would go beyond a week is if they want to define unique campaigns, then we want to work with them to do so. We will also sign an agreement with 2 SIs to help the retailers if they want to go into complex stuff instead of us doing it. And we are live with 3 customers today. One of the customers started with 1 store and in 6 months have moved to 6 stores. One customer started with 1 store and 8 months moves to 10 store. And we just kicked off one of the largest retailer, German-based company, as large as Costco, to start 1 store, and they're targeting to move to 16 stores by early next year. And we're talking to 2 large retailers. One of them has 1,800 stores and one of them has 400 stores to start a pilot in about 6 to 8 weeks. Our go-to-market strategy is to focus on mid to large retailers. 1 store that would start with a very simple number, and each retailer could potentially, based on 200 to 300 stores, could be generating up to $9 million for us on an annual basis, being a SaaS model. We are projecting right now, we're currently only live with 3 customers, generating $50,000. We're projecting with those same customers moving to $400,000 next year. And based on the additional customers, we think by 2017, our projection is to get to $20 to $30 million in terms of revenue. We're looking for somewhere between 1.5 to 2 million, closer to $2 million in funding. We have 3 people in US. Development team and support team is based out of India. That's 12 people. It's bootstrapped today. We're looking to hire an additional data scientist, an architect to manage and run multiple customers together in parallel. And we're already starting to capture based on the feedback from our customers on features and functionality for release 2. Thank you.
Questions from the judges? So Nasir, is this opt-in model you have to cut those 4 people with their IP addresses, you have to have those opt-in?
It is an opt-in model. The uniqueness that we have is twofold. One, we are having them opt in into the retailer app. And many of the retailers already have an app and running, Best Buys of the world and so forth. And we are doing an app process by incorporating our technology on that so the customer doesn't know there's tiptoe running behind the scene.
Can you talk a little bit about the customers then? You know, how many customers actually are you monitoring? What kind of engagement have you seen from them? What marginal difference you've seen in customer behavior? Any of the the analytics that would show the value to the retailer in particular?
So we have 3 customers. 2 of them have been live for 6 months, and one just started last month. So it's really the first month of the data aspects of it for them. The first customer has given us an indication. They've gotten 25% of the visitors to opt in. And we are working with them. The second aspects of that is the gamification aspects to help increase the opt-in aspects to it. I mean, we all go to, for example, CVS and Walgreens and give them a phone number. So customers are willing to do opt-in. It's just a matter of trying to figure out how to get them to opt-in. The customer has provided us feedback that they have seen an increase of 3 to 5%, and in one store up to 7% basket increase size. And this is data coming in from the customer, from the opt-in visitors. On the analytics side, we're capturing basic KPIs, number of visitors, who's opting in, size of the basket, connecting it to the PO system, as well as trends and planning data. It's not just about the customer, it's also about identifying very early if a campaign is successful or not.
How about when you go and profile the merchants, it has to be a specific kind of merchants, because grocery you normally don't, plan. If you're looking for a gadget like Best Buy or maybe some other thing, those are the ones who would be more geared for your application. Isn't that right?
Actually, we're targeting both groceries as well as retail, and we're also targeting malls. In the grocery, it's a matter of defining, because groceries, the customers come in every week, or even sometimes more frequently. So it's not just about identifying what they're buying, it's also identifying brand loyalty, so we can hook in the brands and the manufacturers also into the loop by providing different promotions to folks to buy different things. And also, if somebody has never bought wine, we can identify the demographics or something like that and identify why should they be buying wine, or why they should be buying cheese, or why they should be buying organic food and so forth, so we can capture some of that stuff as well.
Can you elaborate a little bit on the team? I think you said you had 3 guys.
So we have 3 of us in US. Sudeep's the original co-founder. I joined him as the co-founder part-time initially and then full-time. Sudeep and I go back to the Oracle days 15 years ago. He actually used to work for me, so I technically work for him now. And we also worked together at PwC before we joined this thing. And this idea came to us based on one of our customers asking for some of these specific things, and we started brainstorming some of the ideas. We have 12 people in India, including a data scientist and architects who've been developing the dashboards and the database and so forth, and we're looking to hire a few folks, additional folks over here from a design and architect perspective.
So for the $2 million, do you have any valuation in mind? And also for people who might be interested in investing, is there a minimum investment level that you have a cutoff for?
We haven't defined a valuation just because it's very difficult, to define a valuation. So we are looking for multiple investors. Don't know if you have a minimum number of mind in that perspective, but we're interested. We are actively talking to 2 seed funds right now, and we expect we're going to need more than 2 to get the initial round funded. But we're going through that. Whether it's a value, one party might help do the valuation for us, or it may end up being convertible notes.
Yes, last question. I didn't see anything in your analysis on the competitive landscape. Obviously there are a lot of people who are targeting exactly or something very similar to what you're discussing. So it would be helpful to understand how you think you differentiate yourself, or what's the unique value prop.
So we actually have a competitor slide also. I didn't get around to it. Retail Next is one of the competitors. They just got $125 million of funding in round Series D or something. So that validates the market. They're actually doing a camera-based installation, which they have not been able to move from 2 or 3 stores or for retailers to multiple stores because it's very costly. Shopkick is another competitor in that sense, but they will only do clicks to tag the coupon. None of them do real time. and none of them provide the ability to track the customer in the store today. And that's a differentiation we're bringing in, as well as the predictive nature of the analytics that we provide. And we got 2 patents pending on that area.
Have you looked at Euclid?
We have looked at Euclid, we have looked at Nomi, so there's about 8 or 10 of them have been in the industry. Great, thank you.
So the next presenter is Vin PK.
Okay, so my name is Abbas Akhtar and I'm here for VidPK, which is Pakistani video content for the world. So the closest reference I can give to you is that VidPK basically is the Netflix of Pakistan. At its core, what VidPK really is it's a video publishing platform that brings together advertisers, consumers, and content creators. Let's just get straight into the business model. So the way we want to monetize our content, we're consciously not going with a subscription model, but we're going with an ad-based model. The reasons for that, well, there are 2 reasons for that. First of all, in Pakistan right now, the market is not really mature for online payments. But the bigger and better reason is that right now, the online ad market in Pakistan is at a tipping point. Advertisers have a lot of money to spend on online ads, but there really aren't many websites that actually target Pakistanis. So advertisers are sitting with all this money with nowhere to put it. So that's why we think, at least for the next couple of years, there's enough potential in here to use an ad-based revenue model. And then after that, we're going to slowly transition towards a subscription model. But for the next 2 years, this is really what works. I talked about, how VidPK basically talks about these 3 things. We basically connect these 2 entities over here: consumers, content creators, and advertisers. So now let's look at these 3 pillars one by one. First of all, the consumers. I also call this slide really why Pakistan, i.e. why invest in Pakistan at all. And the reason for that is that Pakistan actually is a booming market right now. I live there, so I know that. But let's look at some numbers. First of all, there are 220 million Pakistanis. 70% of these are under 30 years old, so that's a huge market right there. 30 million internet users growing at 50% per year. With all these numbers, I would suggest not to look at the absolute numbers, but to look at the growth numbers, because that's really what shows you the potential. 150 million mobile subscribers, which is also growing at 15% per year. 21 million smartphone subscribers growing at 25% per year. 124 million TV viewers growing at 20% per year. So basically all this shows is that there is a booming market in Pakistan. Don't talk to us about, go have a glass or something, because people say that they're Pakistan. So yeah, there are problems, jokes aside, there are problems in Pakistan. There are problems in Pakistan, but I don't really think that they're significant enough to actually warrant not having a booming market over there. These numbers basically prove that. I also think that the problems that there may be in Pakistan are actually can be looked at as a blessing, because they can act as a natural barrier to entry for any competitors trying to enter the market. Next, let's look at content creators, the content industry, the content market in Pakistan. The Pakistan entertainment industry, this is TV and film combined, is valued at over 4 billion. It's the 3rd biggest in the world after US, which is Hollywood, India, which is Bollywood. Pakistan is the 3rd biggest entertainment industry in the world. 4th is Nigeria, 5th is Hong Kong, 6th is Indonesia. Pakistani content is internationally popular. It's dubbed and subtitled in many different languages around the world. But the problem, or the opportunity over here is that all this content right now is only offline. And that's what VidPK aims to do, is take all of this online. There's another bigger opportunity over here, which is that this content that we're talking about over here is only 10% of what Pakistan could be producing. There's a huge potential with independent content makers that want to create a lot of content, but their problem is, well, we'll make the content, but then what? They have no way of actually pushing it out. The only avenues right now are TV and film, the big screen, and they're never going to get there. So that's what we want to provide, is that give these people an opportunity to put their content out there and help them make money from it, so they can actually get a revenue stream out of this. Next thing is advertisers. Let's look at the advertising industry in Pakistan. So advertising spend is 600 million a year in Pakistan. This is also growing at 23% per year. Online advertising spend right now is small. It's 5 million per year, but this is growing at 60% per year. So the growth numbers here are really big. When it comes to online advertising, this is really an industry that VidPK can completely dominate, at least when it comes to online video ads. So again, these 3 pillars that I'm talking about, they themselves are experiencing tremendous growth, and VidPK sits on top of all of these. So really a little bit, extra that we put in can actually get a lot for us. Now, anybody could get in and, they can do the same thing. So what really makes us different, right? What is our competitive advantage over here? Over the last year and a half or so, we've actually built significant intellectual property. The biggest one over here is search. If people are familiar with Pakistan and the way people in Pakistan use the internet, basically people use Urdu words, but they transliterate it and type it out. And search is a big problem with that because even Google hasn't solved that problem because this is a problem that's unique to Pakistan and unique to Urdu. But we have solved that problem. And if people know Urdu and Pakistan, this is a huge thing. I can talk about this more in the Q&A. We also have a content curating algorithm that actually places content exactly the right places whenever it gets uploaded. We have worked a lot on our backend platform to actually give seamless distribution in Pakistan. The other thing is that VidPK actually has been around for about 7 years. It was sort of a side thing, and then over the last for the last couple of years, we've really sort of worked on rebranding it, changing the business model around and everything. But what that means is there's actually a 7-year brand history there. We have a lot of loyal users. We actually have a lot of links all around the internet that naturally get us traffic. So there's a lot of traction already. And also we already have an existing repository of over 115,000 videos, which is over 50,000 hours of content. Now let's look at the team. So myself, Abbas Akhtar, I am the founder and CEO. I was born and raised in Pakistan. I moved to the US about 12 years ago for my education. I'm an engineer by training. I worked at Google for 4 years. I worked at Apple for a couple of years. I always wanted to go back to Pakistan and start a company over there. So that's what I did a couple of years ago. And I've been in Pakistan for 2 years running this. We have Aman Kherati, who's our head of operations. He's also a really sharp sales and operations guy. Worked at a bunch of big companies in Pakistan. And then we have Riaz Kidwai. Some Pakistanis over here may know the band Dr. Arbilla. He's the lead guitarist for that band, but he also runs a couple of design studios and everything. This is our list of advisors and supporters, and basically this is the who's who of Pakistan. You see Mariam Jabbar, who's one of the biggest TV directors. There's Sayyid Noor, who's one of the biggest film directors. Asad Sherjan, who's an executive at GeoTV, which is the biggest TV network. We have Bashar Rizvi, Emmy-winning filmmaker. So all these people who really believe the idea, who see the financial potential here, but also the social potential over here, because this really is an idea that can sort of change the landscape of Pakistan. Pakistanis need to be exposed to new ideas and new things, and this is really something that can do that. But the whole social angle of that is besides the point over here. This is what we're looking for right now. We're looking for $300,000 today. We basically, for the first year, we want to focus on expansion. We want to get more content partnerships. We want to get higher users. And we want to get to our break-even point. After that, in the second year, we want to continue expanding, and then we consider a new round of funding. So basically, we have all the pieces here together. We have a good team. We have a solid product. We already have users. We have content makers signed up. We have advertisers signed up. It's basically just to go big now. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry with basically nobody in there. So this really can be big. Thank you very much for your time.
More questions?
You said your name is
Abbas.
Abbas. You never talked about monetization. What are you going to do with this 200 and then 500? How long will it take?
So basically, is this what you're talking about? Yeah. So basically, this will carry us through the first year. After the first year, we aim to break even. So we'll break it even after that, and then we can continue on after that. We can consider another round of funding if we want to, expand out even more after the first year. But after the first year, we'll be breaking even.
So what you're saying, the second year, if you have 20 million users, you'd be making $500,000 a month in revenues?
Yes. So and the way it works out is that right now we have a CPM deal, and our projections of so on are actually talking to advertisers. We are looking for a $5 CPM for video views for ads, and then our payout to the content makers is $1 CPM, and they're more than happy with that right now. So that's what the model we're going for.
So you will end up making some money at $500,000 a month.
Yes.
And why do you need more money? Oh, sorry.
At that point, I mean, at that point,
you're raising money and
this is revenue. This is revenue, right? So I mean, again,
you're breaking even in year one, right?
Yeah. So we're breaking even. I mean, again, after that, because there are a lot of things that we can and want to do, right? We want to incentivize even more people. We want to get more content on there, so we might have to make some upfront payments to get content. So like, it's just basically about expanding to the next level after that. But after the first year, we could continue on, and we would never leave any funds.
Is your content unique to you guys? Is it? Tell us a little bit more about what kind of content. Full feature films? Are we talking TV shows? Unique content?
Sure.
So on.
So the way we are looking at content, and the whole content landscape has changed now because people view content differently. I think now the way people view content is their outlook on content depends on how long the content is. If you want to watch a feature-length film, then you probably do that at home when you're relaxing. If you want to watch a 30-minute show, that would probably be on the bus or when you're If you're on your mobile phone just traveling around, you'll probably be shorter clips. So that's the way we split our content, is by length. The kinds of content that we have right now is we actually have a repository of over 1,400 TV shows and over 400 feature films from Pakistan. We also are moving a lot more into independent content now, and that we believe that can actually be an even bigger market than TV and film combined right now, because there's a lot of potential. A lot of people want to make content, but they just don't know what to do after they make it. But I think that would eventually become the much bigger share of the whole thing.
So are you licensing that content?
So with that content also, so right now the landscape, and again that's one place where Pakistan is again different from sort of the Western market is. Right now there aren't really a lot of licensing rights and everything. Even the people that own the content, they haven't figured that out. So the way we're doing that is twofold. One is that we're just sort of pushing revenue out towards them to keep them interested. The second thing is we've also sort of changed our focus that we don't even care about the rights. Like what we're going to do is we're going to provide an immaculate user experience. We're going to pull the users in, and wherever the users go, the content will sort of come. So we're like, not even worrying about or thinking about the rights, because that can get really complicated in Pakistan. We're focusing on the users and letting the content fall after that.
So how about the competition? There's something called Video PK or something.
That's probably us. So that's probably us.
Okay.
But I mean, there are. So I'll talk a little bit about the competition. I mean, there really aren't that many players in Pakistan. That's why this is really interesting right now. There are a few smaller, almost like blogs and stuff, that what they do is they'll upload on YouTube, on Dailymotion and stuff, and then they'll embed it on their websites. But they don't control the full flow. So anything happens and then their website goes down. That's basically the biggest competitors we have in terms of traffic right now. In other sense, our competitors are websites like YouTube, Dailymotion, etc. But the way we differentiate themselves is because we understand the market here. We can actually give a customized solution for Pakistan.
And you have all the contents of Pakistani dramas or
Exactly.
maybe.
Exactly. We have all that content. Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about the search problem you solved?
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
obviously that's not unique just to Pakistan. I mean,
Yeah.
the Arab markets have a very similar problem. But anyways, that is a unique value prop to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll talk about that. I'll sort of start to give an example, right? Like the way people in Pakistan search or use the internet is that they'll use Urdu words but transliterate it and type it out using the English alphabets. So for example, a word like Dhuan, which means smoke, right? So they'll type it out DHUWAN or DHUWAN or DHAWAN, whatever. So 15 people would type that word out in 15 different ways. And that's exactly what the problem here is that if I want to give search results to somebody, I don't know which spelling to look for. That's a huge problem because it's not just a simple like sort of correlation problem, right? It's actually you have to figure out. Like one of the craziest examples, and some people who understand Urdu might understand this, but the word paratha, right, which is a flatbread, right? So some people actually write that as PA, the number 8, THA, paratha. Right? So people understand it. So like, it's just the crazy spellings that people will come up with. But how do you solve that problem, right? That is a huge problem. So what we've done, we've worked a lot extensively on that, and we actually have an algorithm that figures out all of that out and actually gives you the search results. So if you go on our website right now, which is live and functioning, and you search for all these words in any spelling, the results will come up. That's the problem that we've solved. All right, thank you very much.
And our final presenter for the second session is Yota Skate.
My name is Asim Razak. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Euroscale. We help companies manage their cloud data chaos. So let's look at some key cloud data trends here. On the top, we have the Amazon AWS and the Microsoft Azure data growth. This is reaching tens of trillions of objects within a short span of time, and it has no sign of stopping. The digital data growth, I think a lot of people are familiar with this, is going to reach about 45 zettabytes in 2020. I mean, for comparison, 5 zettabytes is every single word spoken by humans today. So that's the range we're in. And the cloud storage spend that is being spent into these cloud providers is going to be about 51 billion estimated in 2018 by the same partner. What's the problem? So the problem is that these key cloud providers have given great infrastructure, scale, and performance, and a level of convenience to customers. And what the customers are doing is that they're taking large amounts of data and they're putting it into the cloud. They don't have the need to delete this data anymore because of the cost economics. This data is being stored in different data types. It's being stored in different storage tiers, different geolocations, different availability zones. On top of that, I'm sure you've heard of Internet of Things, mobile, social, all these different trends are compounding the problem. So what we have on our hands is data chaos. Let's look at the data management aspect of this. How are you managing this data? This in the cloud world is still in its infancy. The reason is the following. The cloud providers have some basic primitive tools that they offer you. And what you can do with data management effectively, it's a concept from the enterprise world, right? So data is moved from a data center into the cloud. What you used to be able to do was manage performance, cost, health, and governance aspects. So that took 25 years to mature. And now here we are in infancy. These cloud providers are providing basic tools. There are third-party tools emerging, but there are a few of them, and they're pretty scattered and fragmented. And what this is leading companies to do is really build a lot of internal solutions because they have to get their arms around this. So within an organization, let's see what's happening. So the dev team, the operations person, the analyst, the security guy, the finance guy are having to tap into all these different types of tools just to keep up with all this confusion and data management crisis. This is the problem that Euroscale is here to solve. What Euroscale provides is a cloud data management platform that helps companies govern and manage their cost performance and health. We do this by providing pretty deep data visibility and actionable intelligence. Another key aspect of what we provide is data classification. So the data assets that I talked about, it's extremely difficult for you to get your arms around what data am I looking at. So the data scientist is not able to provide any value unless they know what data assets they have. And we also are a pluggable platform, which means that we integrate for our alerts and notifications into things like PagerDuty, for analytics, things like Domo and Tableau, and a lot of these enterprise tools. So we work within your context. So let's look at the underlying magic. So this is basic account management, and by the way, we have an MVP. There's a live demo as well that we can do at the right time. Account management, the customer comes in, they can pick their provider and link the data assets of what they need to. If you have multiple providers, Euroscale helps you do that. For a DevOps, IT ops person, you can come in here and get a pretty good snapshot of what's happening across the board around all your data assets. So this gives you a scoring, which is based on what is the performance, what are the error rates, what's going on with security, and what are the critical alerts that you're not paying attention to. On the finance side, there's this quote that, one of the biggest tricks that AWS played, the Amazon Web Services, to the customers, but that's cheap. And that's the challenge, right? So you come in, but then you end up spending a lot of money. So this gives you visibility into the cost. And at the bottom, you can see the data that you have, what's the data that's never been accessed, what was really used, what is the level of deduplication. And we don't stop there. We take it to the last mile, and that's a big competitive advantage. So we let you come in here and look at the options to improve on this. So objects that you can delete, objects you can archive, reduce the redundancy on, and have some cost savings that are very real and tangible that we offer. On the classification side, we have a smart data classification algorithm. It goes in there and really provides a ring fence around the different types of data. And you're then able to apply the same principles to that data and export it into data analytics tools. Security, this is big these days. We're seeing a lot of breaches across the board. And this problem gets compounded because of a lack of knowledge of where data is. But in this view, you can see what are the challenges across the board, across all of your data sources from a security standpoint. The chief security officer, who's in a very difficult situation these days, is able to come in and have a piece of mind. What's our current status? We have the MVP complete, the core team is there. We have some key beta customers. We have Yelp, we have Apigee, we have talked to these guys. Yelp, for example, has a big performance issue. Apogee has issues around cost and resource management, and we are going through customer validation. We have a partner in the mix as well, and then some great partners in the panel. The founding team, we have a great founding team, got a combination of the hustler, hacker, and the hipster. We all have worked together for a number of years. We went to school together at the University of Texas in Austin, computer science. We were at a number of companies like PayPal, eBay, running cloud, large-scale infrastructure. So we know this space pretty well. We know what the problem is. We have the solution. Something happened here. I think this is talking about next steps. We're looking for, this is the money slide, literally. We're looking for 1.5 million in seed funding. We have about 600K in verbals, so we're working through contract negotiation on some of that stuff. We are going to have about 25 beta customers by Q3 and about 5 strategic partnerships. And then finally, we are establishing an advisory board. We have a number of informal advisors right now. I mean, there's a reason why we haven't really formalized it yet with 3 months out. So we've got some of the key subject matter experts who are at Google, HP, and AWS who are providing us informal advice right now. Really formalized. So again, Euroscale, here at the team, we have Cloud Data Chaos. We have an MVP, we have some great beta customers, and we have a great team to pull this off. Thank you.
I was trying to get an understanding of what the health check does. Is it a time series analysis as well, or is it just a snapshot of the current
Excellent
load
question.
and
Yeah,
the way
so
that it's sitting?
one of our key secret sauce is this is all real time. So it is time across time, and then we have different pricing tiers. I can get into that. So across time range, real time, we index about 1 million objects in 3 minutes, and as soon as you add data, it shows up in 1 second.